So today we're going to be taking a look at the Geonix48 by Chosfox. Now I took a look at the Minipeg48 a few months back, which is basically the predecessor to this board, and it's a really neat one because it's 60 by 60 millimeter space Choc switches, which leads to a really portable and compact little board that you can bring with you anywhere. And we're just going to jump in and take a look. So this here is the kit, and I should quickly just go over pricing for this. It comes in at $129 for a full kit. That will include basically everything that I'm going to show here in this video, so it's a really good price for this. But this here are the keycaps on top, which we'll take a look at later in the video. This is the carrying case which comes with the board. It's a very nice carrying case that kind of holds everything in there. We can open this up and you see that we also get our switches here. These are some Choc reds. We have two little baggies of additional keycaps which you can use on the board if you want. I'm probably not going to use these. I'm just going to use the ones that came with the kit, but it does have like the Lego ones and some bigger ones for the spacebar if you wanted. It also has a nice braided USB-C cable right here. So you see that's a braided USB-C. And then finally, this here is the main attraction. Now this was all wrapped nicely before I took it apart for this video. I just want to make it easier to get into, but this is the board here. It is an aluminum case. We have our PCB down here, which we will be taking out in a moment. On the side, you can see it has this kind of design to it, our Chosfox logo up here. You can see it right there. We have our USB-C port, of course, right there. It has this whole design on the sides there. But then the main attraction is on the back of the board. It has this really, really cool geometric design there that's machined very, very well. If you look there, very nice, no tooling marks on it, so it's greatly machined there. We have our little rubber feet here, which are cut nicely to that. Everything looks great on it. This is the Arctic Silver, I believe the color is called. It also comes in a black one if you want to get that, but I specifically asked for this one because I thought it looked kind of cool. It's like a greenish silver. Like a greenish silver, I guess, now that I'm looking at a video here. In person, it's kind of more of a grayish, but it looks really, really nice. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this PCB here and I'm going to pop the PCB out, or I'm going to take the case and pop the PCB out, and then we can kind of take a look at that. So once we get those screws out, we can simply just flip this over and take our PCB out. And this is a new addition I noticed in this board compared to the Minipeg48 they looked at a few months ago, is that now they have foam in here, which is kind of nice because it'll help dampen the sound a little bit. It's not like a super thick piece of foam. I mean, you can see it's probably about, I don't know, what is that, 3 or 4 mils? So it's not super thick. It's not super dense either, but it is nice that that's in there to kind of give it a little bit of something to stop the pinginess that comes with Choc switches usually. But this is the PCB. It's just a reused one from the Minipeg48. You can see it's the Minipeg48 by Masro. The board of all time. I always like that on it, but it is fully assembled. This is an ATmega32U4. We have our reset button here, and there is no access for the reset button on the PCB case here. You will have to take the PCB out to access that, which isn't a big deal, but it is on there. And it's only held in by 4 screws. So there's one here, 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 and here. And then I noticed on this version compared to the last one, they actually changed these. Instead of being pins, they're actual screws you can still use here. So if you put this in the case, if we start to reassemble this, we can flip this over and get it the correct way. But we can pop that in like so. These are additional screw points if you wanted to use those, but it just comes with these 4 screws here. So I'm just going to pop those in right now. So there's the board fully back assembled. And now the really cool thing with these Choc boards is that they're super simple to put together. I mean, everything on the PCB is ready to go. So we can actually put this down and then I can go back into the case here. And like I mentioned, this does come with the kit. So you can just take your switches and all you have to do to put this together is you just open your switches. You can pop one out and then you can just align it to the hot swap sockets on here. Take it, push it in, and then that switches in. So it's a super easy board to assemble. I'm just going to go through and pop all the switches in right now. So I'm going to pause right here before I pop in these final switches because I wanted to mention the center here, which I don't remember if this was on the last iteration of this board or not. But in the case, you can see that we also had included, these are just some weird keycaps. I'm going to throw those off to the side. But we also had this, I believe that's a 1.75U spacebar right there. So what we could actually do is that could go in the middle like that if you wanted to, and you can kind of get a different layout if you wanted a more pronounced spacebar. I'm just going to keep it simple and do the 4x12 layout. So I'm just going to pop these into the board so I can pop that one in there if it wants to go in. Why is that one giving me trouble? There we go. That one was just not aligned perfectly, but we'll pop this one in over here. And then finally, the last one right in the middle. You can either put it upside down depending on which layout you want. We'll just pop that in. And now what we have is a simple 4x12 layout with all the switches at the board. So what we're ready to do now are put in the keycaps, which this is what I remember from the Minipeg48. I was very impressed with the Chosfox keycaps, and this is also what makes this board so special. This board's very simple. As you can see, this video has probably only been a few minutes up until now because it's not super complicated. But we have the board here, and then I can grab my keycaps over here, and we got 2 boxes here. I believe one are like the specialties, and then one's the regular ones. So I'm just gonna break into this. We'll open up this top one first. So we'll just pop this open, and inside we will have our black keycaps here. I wasn't sure what color these were until I opened it, so I was like, wait a second, that's what we got. There's different options on the website, but this will look really nice with the black ones. Maybe these are the other black ones. Yes. So there are the other keycaps. So we have our alphas here, which look really nice, and then we have all our additional keycaps here. But what I want to show on these, and I'm very impressed with the Chosfox keycaps, if I pop out this orange one here and try not to flip those all over. So if we look at this really close, look how sharp that legend is. It's like perfectly in the center. They're machine grade. I think these are double shot. I'm not certain, but it looks double shot. I mean, they look really, really good. And I'm trying not to get these keycaps everywhere here, but if we look at this like hyperlink one, just the quality on these Chosfox keycaps is amazing. And these are 16 by 16 spacing. I think I mentioned that a few times, which what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the keycaps on the board, and then I can kind of explain what that 16 by 16 is, because that's what makes this board special. And it's kind of a thing that I'm kind of torn on too, which we'll talk about in a moment. I'm just going to pop these keycaps on. So there's the assembled board right there. It looks nice with the orange over here. That's how I actually use my arrow keys. I go like that, so I use them on a row, up and down like that. But what you could probably see there is that it actually has the homing keys for these. I didn't realize this, so you saw at the end of that time lapse, probably I was like digging through the other one, but it comes with on this kit. We have our F and J homing keys right here, so you can see they have a little bump on them, but it also had the T and N that I need for callback right here. And then also it has U and H, it looks like, for I think that's Dvorak uses U and H. So it has those different keys there. And it was kind of indecisive because they give you so many options here for keys. There's a lot here, but I went in the middle with like the Squid Game square, circle, and triangle thing. And then we got the Chosfox logos here, and then everything else kind of just ties together there. I think it looks really, really nice. But this is what's cool with this board, is if I put this down, you can see, first off, that I didn't put it on the standard layout where you'd say start your home row on the middle here. So you kind of have your home row here, right? And then outside here would be your modifiers. And the reason for that is the 16 by 16 spacing. If I actually come over here and grab, I have a bunch of stuff over here, so I put that on the ground. But if I grab my plank here, this is a plank revision 6, this is just some MX switches. This is 19.05 millimeter spacing. This is 16 by 16 on this. You can see here how much space that saves on this board because of that spacing. We're basically saving about almost 2 centimeters, 2.5 centimeters over here because they're so close. And it is also Choc, so we kind of put it on the edge here. These are also MT3 keycaps, so they're really tall, but you can see how thin that is also in comparison. So that in itself, though, has a benefit and kind of a negative there. The benefit, of course, is that this board is super small. It's super small, super compact. It weighs almost nothing, even though it is an aluminum case. I mean, it does have weight to it, but it's light and small enough that you can toss this on a backpack, and it's super easy to travel with and do whatever you need to. But if I put this down here, and I was to sit on normal home row, you can see how cramped my wrists are, right? You can see how cramped that is. So what I recommend with a board like this is you put your home row out one key, so you can kind of sit more like that, and it spaces it out more, makes it a lot more comfortable to use. And it feels pretty good to type like this. It does take a little getting used to because the keys are smaller. With that, what we're gonna do on this is actually go do a typing test, because these are the Choc Reds in it. Choc Reds don't sound amazing on any board, but I wanna see what that foam's maybe doing something to it. So we're gonna just go do a little typing test on it and see how it sounds. So yeah, that's a Geonix48, and now this video is probably pretty short, and I think that's a good thing because I didn't have anything bad to say about this board. I'm pretty impressed with it. I've been pretty impressed with Chosfox stuff in the past, especially in the Minipeg 48 I looked at like 8 months ago. This is the evolution of that board, and for $129, I don't think you could really go wrong. It's an aluminum board that pretty much includes everything you need. It takes like 5 minutes to put together and get ready. It supports Vial, so you can change everything on your computer without having to touch any code at all. And it's a good little kit. So if I put this down and just remind you yet again, the thing that's really special with this, so is the 16 by 16 spacing, and here's the plank with the normal 19 by 19, 19.05 if you want to get technical. But you can see that we are saving all that space there, so it makes it really small, which, like I mentioned before, it does have that negative that if you were to put your typical layout here, you know, you're going to be really, really cramped there. But if you put it on the outer edges like I do, it makes it actually comfortable to kind of use, and you can see that it basically aligns to the home row on like a plank. So if you're out here, it works. You might want to put your like shift and stuff in the middle or play with your key map, but it's really easy to do that anyway because it's Vial. But the board is nice. I'm going to pick it up here and show you again like that design with that silver I really like. The perfectly cut feet to the board there. that design on the side. We have our nice little engraved logo there, which I'm also like doubling up the logo here, which I thought was kind of funny, but it looks great. I think it sounds pretty decent for being Choc switches. Choc is kind of hard to make like sound good anyway, just with how the switches work, but I think it sounds fine for a Choc board. And with that, I don't have much else to say here other than comment, rate, and subscribe if you like this. I'll see you guys next time.